What's up, everybody? Funnel Doc here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about HighLevel's Voice AI. That's right, by the time you get done with this video, you're going to know everything you need to know about HighLevel, how to set it up, what all the settings are, use cases. That's right, we're going to be breaking down before we even get into the technical stuff. I'm going to be breaking down all the best strategies and ways that you can use HighLevel Voice to be able to increase your revenue, increase your profits, and increase the service that you're giving your client. So let's jump inside today's video. So the first thing I want to do is go over the top 10 use cases for voice AI. Now, with HighLevel, we're really talking about solely inbound. So today we're going to be covering inbound use cases and the different ways that I'm using it for my client and how my AI agency Kickstart students are using it in their business. So let's get started. Now, the first one is a 24/7 virtual receptionist. I mean, this is pretty obvious. Being able to have somebody there at your beck and call to some degree 24/7 that knows everything about your product. It knows everything about your business. It knows what to say, how to say, when to say it. It can schedule calls if you need to. It can book appointments. It can really do all of the data-driven tasks that's around, a client. It can update different things about their records, phone number, email, if they have different statuses updates. It can really do all that in one. And that's the great thing about being able to set up his voice. When they call in, you just have them update the contact field, and we'll talk about that in later on the video. And then that would be able to trigger workflow as well as update that contact specific information. So it's great for using it as just a receptionist or a service type person to be able to give help and needs 24/7. I recommend any product you have right now that you launch and you're getting especially a lot of inbound telephone calls, having a 24/7 receptionist that can do all this for you and that is literally at your beck and call is great for voice AI. Number two is just what I touched on, booking and scheduling appointments. There's a lot of businesses right now that are missing tons of potential sales because they're missing the ability to answer the telephone. Think about it right now. Missed call, text back is one of the biggest things there is. And you can switch around and give them missed call AI callbacks. So imagine if some client calls in and now, even if you're talking to your customers and say they get 10 calls a month that they're missing, and even if they have a low close rate of 20% of those calls, they now have 2 calls per month that they're missing out on. And let's say that each one of those calls is a couple $1,000s, there's 4 or 5 grand that they're missing on. So it's easy to see how just implementing a AI receptionist and a booking agent can really increase your overall revenue because now you're able to get leads and sales that you didn't know possible at first. And talking about leads, let's talk about lead qualification, especially for things like real estate or any type of appointment, maybe coaching or anywhere where you're going to have to qualify someone. Well, when they're calling in and they're going to book their appointment, AI is great at pre-qualifying or disqualifying someone for a call, which is going to save you time and money and heartache and headache and get those tire kickers out of there and allow people that you get in front of you for your sales call to actually be qualified without having to use manpower. That's a great thing about this is, again, this allows you to scale almost infinitely and 24/7 without having to worry about hiring new staff, training new staff, and all the other problems that are associated with human employees, to be honest. So tying into what I talked about before, number 5, FAQ and customer service. Really, customer service and FAQ should technically almost be separate, but we'll put them together. And FAQ are all those questions you get all the time. We both know what we're talking about. We've all been there before, where it's the same question like, wow, okay, here's how you log in, or here's how you do this, or here's how you do that. Having someone that's able to call in and be able to talk to someone and get all their questions answered 24/7, anytime they want it on demand, really adds a level of customer service and a level of, caring, even though it's AI, that just isn't allowed right now with so many businesses, because to be able to do this, you'd have to bring in a whole new staff. So next thing is call routing and transfer. Just like the receptionist, you can set like IVR, where they're like, oh, press 1 if you want to talk to sales, press 2 for customer service, press 3 for core support or whatever it is. Now you could do the same thing, but for AI, where you don't have to do that. You'd call in, and I'm going to show you how to do this later in the training, but they call in, talk to the main receptionist bot, and then that bot would be able to determine what their need is and then route them via another call and make it a seamless transfer in the call process. But you'd like hand off, or what we call a hot handoff there, or a live transfer would happen, and allows you to have multiple different bots that are specialized, or even if you just want to use the primary bot, and maybe you have humans at each end of those different departments, and you want to be able to hand it off to your human counterparts. Really, the possibilities are endless with the stuff. It gives so much different potential, and especially with local businesses right now, they're really struggling at finding good help. So being able to bring in AI, voice AI, and be able to alleviate all these problems for them isn't necessarily going to replace the staff that they have, but it's going to enhance the staff they have. It's going to allow that people to be able to do jobs that are going to pull levers and make things happen in their business. When I say pull levers, I'm talking about the important things that really make the needle go forward when it comes to profit and having a business that scales and grows. And now those people can focus on those tasks instead of doing all that repetitive stuff and sort of time wasted that you almost need to hire new staff for to get done. Well, not anymore. Now you can replace that with AI and allow the staff you have to be able to be enhanced and do a better job than they did before. Another thing is order updates, or status updates. If you're in e-com or any type of business, that would be something. Maybe you're, you could be a car mechanic or something like that, and people want to call in and check on the status of their car. If it's ready, hey, how long until X, Y, or Z? This is a perfect opportunity for you to use voice AI to be able to do that. And you can see how this sort of all ties in together. And then one of the last things we're going to talk about, one of my favorite things that we're talking about last is like voicemail replacement. Imagine now how many times you've had a voicemail and you're just like, all right, get to the point. What's the TLDR of this? Well, now you can actually have people call in, leave a voicemail with the AI, and then the AI can take it, transcribe everything that they discussed about, find out everything that they need, and be able to give you a very detailed summary of exactly what that prospect or client needed and how you can help them. I've even trained the AI to be able to set up the next steps, so it's recommending what you need to do next to be able to be successful with that client. So with those 10 use cases out of the way, we're going to now jump into the technical part of how to set up voice AI inside of HighLevel. So once you're inside HighLevel, you're going to come right here to where it says AI agent on your front dashboard. Once you click on that, you're going to see this screen that's going to open up right here. Again, it says AI agents. Then you're going to go right here to voice AI. You can also go through settings at the bottom down here. If you go down to settings, you can also find it right here by voice AI agents. And then you'll see once you click it, for you, if you're brand new, it's not going to have anything. For me, I've got a couple of different agents. I've been doing this for a minute. You can have up to, I believe, 20 voice AI agents. Now, when you first start out, you are going to have it to where it's going to have the blue button in the middle, just like the one at the top right here that says Create AI Agent. And then once you're inside, it's going to just give you my agent number and a random different number. This is where you're going to want to name your agent. So for this agent, say we're using this for inbound webinars for people that are calling and want to know about the different webinar masterclass that's coming up. So we could call this Spark. I like to call my webinar AI agent Spark because it sparks imagination. I know it's a little cheesy, but whatever. And then you've got your business name here. The next thing is, and again, if you want this to be different, it's going to automatically populate with what the sub account name is. If you want it to be different than what the sub account name is, you just change that right here. Now, they do have about 7 different languages to choose from. This, once it's set, you're going to need to stabilize it on that and set in that it doesn't transfer back and forth. But one of the things you could do is you could set, like I was talking about before, for the different like IVRs, you could have a language IVR. So you could come in and have the receptionist sitting there, and then she would be able to recognize, oh, this person wants German. This person wants Spanish. This person wants French, Portuguese, Italian, Dutch. And it would just literally transfer. Hey, you would just sort of put in the prompt. We'd go deeper in this and actually building it out, but you put in the prompt, hey, when the caller uses German or speaks in German, please transfer here and say, and on the transfer, you'd have it say in German, hey, I'm transferring your call to our German team now, or our French team now, or however you want to phrase it. But that's one way you could set it up dynamically right off the bat to make it so that it could be in any of these different 7 languages. Now, the one thing is, and we'll get to the phone numbers in a little bit when we set this up, you would need a different phone number for each one. Now, with each bot, you are assigning one phone number per bot. You can't, as of right now, use multiple lines to go into one bot. So you would need to get a phone number for German, for Spanish, for French, for the different 7, but that's really cool to be able to do that. So the next thing is the actual voice. Now, I think there's something like 70 different voices to pick from. Play with a lot of them. I think Jennifer's one of my favorites. It really depends on where you're at and what you're trying to sell. My recommendation, though, is even though you can come in here and like, where is Jennifer? She's at the top, I think. Yeah, Jennifer. If you hit, you can see that sounds pretty good if you could hear it. But the problem is sometimes it doesn't sound the same on the actual desktop as it does on the phone. So I do recommend that you call it and check on it and make sure that it matches the tonality and expression, especially after it's said some sentences and stuff that you're looking for, because the last thing you want to do is think that it sounds one way and realize it's doing something totally different. Next thing is the time zone for your agent. Of course, it's pretty obvious what you want your agent to be set for. You can unfortunately only set inbound right now. It does not do outbound. That is supposed to be coming hopefully in Q4. And then the next thing is your initial message. Now, they used to have this quite a bit more, but now it's 190 characters. And you want this is the message that's going to open up the conversation between the caller and the AI agent. You want to make sure that this is going to like ask a question or make a statement that's going to elicit some type of response from the caller, because if you find that it's actually could potentially leave up open space or anything like that, that there's a potential that the caller won't know to say anything or engage, and it'll be this awkward silence. So usually it's going to be like, hey, I'm with this business. How can I help you today? Hey, did you have questions about X, Y, or Z? You know, that type of thing that's going to be more engaging when they go right off the bat. Now, the other thing too is because the way that the AI searches for like a first name to be able to identify someone, don't put a first name in the initial message. You can put it later as the AI bot's name for it to say it if it needs to say it. But one thing's like I've said at the beginning here, if it said, hey, my name's Molly, how can I help you today? The AI has like a little glitch where it recognizes Molly and it will tag every person's first name as Molly. So it's just a little something to be aware of, not to put in this initial message an actual name. You can put the name of your business, but just not the name of a person. Once you're all happy with that, you're going to then come up here to go advanced settings real quick to make sure that this is all checked off. Now, this is something funny that happens quite a bit often. I've had like students and different clients and stuff be like, oh, there's something wrong with it. It's broke. It keeps just cutting off. And what they didn't do, or we hadn't set up for them, was the 5-minute call limit. I always pretty much max this out unless you have a reason. Now, 15 is as high as it goes. So unless you have a reason for it to not necessarily be set at 15, I would put it there, because if you're doing maybe you're doing high call volume and you don't want people spending a lot of time on the call, because people sometimes will just talk to AI like it's their best friend. So keep that in mind. If you do want to keep that short, maybe notify people at the beginning, hey, you know, these calls are roughly kept under 10 minutes. I don't know. I've not had a problem with it, but it's something to be aware of. That you could turn it down if you wanted to limit that. I always turn it all the way up, because the last thing I want to do is have the AI about to sell somebody or close something or do something that's an important action that's been doing the last 15 minutes to get to, and all of a sudden it shuts off, you know, or 10 minutes to get to. The next thing is the agent, how quickly the agent replies. I really haven't used this too much. I've turned it up to brisk a couple times, just playing with the voices and stuff, and really haven't had an issue. Now, if you find that there is too much of a delay, you can turn up the speed here and it will reply quicker during the call. And then the next thing we've got here is the idle time and reminder. The AI will remind the contact after a fixed amount of silence during the call. So this has been great because one of the things that's happened is the AI was really quick to jump on somebody. So if somebody was thinking, they'd be sitting there and they might be sitting there for just a couple of seconds, but then the AI would be like, "Hey Bob, you there? What's going on?" And it really makes the call weird because it'd be like maybe a second or two had gone by. So now you can set this, which is great that they added this. I love that HighLevel added this in, and you can now set it to the space. Now I have found that 7 is usually about the sweet spot we've been testing for time to wait till it's like too much dead space, but yet just enough that it gives them time to think and not be weird. So play with this yourself, see what feels best for you. But we found that these are the stats that I usually go with: 15 normal and 7 for that. So once I'm happy with it, I always hit confirm. Then once you're good with your first page here, you're then going to set up your, go to your next one, your agent goals. Now, there are two different setups for agent goals. There's the basic and the advanced. We'll quickly go over the basic and then we'll go deep into the advanced. Now, if you want to have it connect or collect different information, you can have it collect the name, email, the address, and then the contacts issue. The default sort of prompt is like a helpful customer service type bot that's trying to find out what their issue is and help them do stuff, that type of thing. Very, very generic, like FAQ type bot. I would recommend never going with this. There's too many things out there to help. If you look down below, there's going to be a GPT that I give you that's my prompt GPT. I've had thousands of people, thousands of students that have used it to help. It feels like cheating. It helps you write your prompt so well. So unless you're a prompt master, if you want to learn how to be able to use a cool GPT, look down below. You'll be able to find in the description and be able to see where that's at. And it will help you out a lot to be able to write prompts. With that being said, I've also got trainings coming up on prompt building, so I'll teach you the basics so you'll be able to write it your own. But prompting is always the way to go. You're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not taking the short amount of time to learn it and be able to use it and you're just using the basics. So anyway, the next thing here is you can't turn this off, but add call summary is a note to the contacts. So you'll see underneath the contacts, when you click on it, if you go to notes, any call, it's going to have a call summary underneath there. And the next thing is trigger workflow when the call is completed. Now, when the call ends, all the workflows that you've selected are going to fire at the same time. So keep in mind, sure, I can come in and I can do like, 20 different workflows if I wanted, 20. Problem is, when the call ends, they're all going to fire. So if it's emails or SMSs or any type of engagement with a client or potential prospect, it could really like inundate them with it. All of a sudden their emails box just blowing up or the SMS is going off or whatever it is. Now, if you're using these to tag people or do different actions or things like that, feel free to use as many of these as you want. Just know they are going to fire at the end of the call, not during the call. And if it's communication, it could possibly overwhelm them. The next thing is email notifications. This is going to like have a summary of the call, who it was, how long it lasts, just like an overall, summary, of what it is. So you can do it for all admins. So that's anyone that's marked as an admin. For all users, now that when we say users, it's really anyone that's a staff member is considered a user. So if I checked a user, all your staff would get these different updates. The next thing is contacts assigned user. So a lot of times when I'm working with sales team in the workflow, when someone gets in and is assigned a sales call, I'll assign them one of our sales team if we're not using AI for that yet. A lot of times, and that's one thing that I found that's really interesting right now is that with AI, people are ready to talk and hang out and use AI, but they're not ready to give it their credit card yet. Just like internet back in the day when it first came out, everybody thought that if I put my credit card in there, everybody's going to have it and they're going to steal all my stuff. Sort of feel the same way with AI now. So that's one reason why I'm pulling away from using it for hard sales yet. I'm using it massively for nurturing and warming up. And don't get me wrong, I have things in place for it to make sales happen, but I'm just finding with everything that people just aren't ready to actually hand their credit card over yet. Give it 6 months, maybe a year, maybe less. that will all change, but just something to keep in mind when you're designing your ecosystem. Maybe your niche is different, but what I've experienced over the last couple, almost 3 years now, and even late, it's still people aren't ready to actually be sold by AI. Setters, schedulers, FAQ, engagement type stuff, 100%, they love it. But when it comes to actually handing over the credit card, they can be a little hesitant. So anyway, that's why we'll assign a contact user is when someone schedules it, I'll assign them one of the team members, and that team member is able to follow them through the whole process as well as get notified when the call happens. A specific user, if you've got one of your specific business people, maybe it's someone that's like you want someone that's assigned to it all the time, no matter what. Maybe it's a specific person, you can pick that. Or if you have a custom email, maybe it's a specific email you want to send it to, you would just check that. And you can check as many of these as you want. Well, not all of them would be different, but you can check a good amount of them, as you can see right here, and you'd be able to pick it, and there you go. So with that, you'd set that all up. When you're happy with it, you would go to next and save it, but we're not going to do that. We're going to jump in advanced. Now, again, if you want help with the prompt, just jump on the GPT down there in the bottom. There's a link. Just tell it what you want to do. It will make it all for you. It's really cool. It will do it exactly like this. Again, I am going to have prompt trainings coming up real soon. Prompt down below in the comments so that way I know that you're interested. I'll make that video even quicker. So with that being said, we're jumping into the advanced. Now, before we jump in the advanced section, if I could just have a second of your time, there are only 5 spots available for my AI agency Kickstart program. So if you'd like to learn how to design, create, sell, and deploy AI as a service for voice, chat, and automations using HighLevel, SynthFlow, and CloseBot, this program is perfect for you, as well as my new Smart Webinar AI formula and strategy. We're going to be teaching that as well as you'll have a whole AI webinar ecosystem that you're able to use and put in that you'll be able to build and use by the end of it. So by the time you get done, you're going to know how to create, launch, sell AI, as well as have all my secrets from my Smart Webinar AI. If you're interested in signing up for that, go to aiagencykickstart.com or message me. I'd love to help you out and get you started with the program. With that, let's jump into the advanced section. So the advanced section, we're going to hit right here again, and now we're into it. Use the prompt here. You do have 3,000 words that you're able to put in here, and you are able to use custom fields and custom values. So keep that in mind. That's one of the great things about this is you can have, if you push that 3,000 field limit for some reason, or word limit for some reason, you can use custom values to come in and be able to put, like, maybe you want personality. So you could have, as much as you want in that custom value, and then it would only read the custom value itself, but then it will pull in that information, and it could be any amount of information. So that's one way to sort of get around it. If you ever have problems with that, you can use custom values and then like take whole chunks of information and drop it in there, and it'll be totally fine. So again, you've got the ability to do that. Once you've got your prompt wired, we're not going to talk about prompt today. We'll do another videos. Once you've got that all good to go, you just drop it all in there. Now, here are the actions you need to know. Forward call transfer. This is like what we talked about before. If you want to have a sales department or, a different language, you'd get a different phone number for each, and you just come in here and you name it. And this would be transfer to sales department or transfer to Russian associate or whatever. I don't know if Russian was one. I'm sorry if it's not. I don't think it was actually, now that I'm saying it, but, Portuguese or something like that. And then what you do is you put in the phone number right here. And then when would the call transfer take place? It take place when they want to talk to the sales team or customer support, or they want to talk to someone that speaks Portuguese or Spanish. And then what to say when the call transfers before. Now remember, these are always before it happens. So it'd be like, okay, I'm transferring you to our sales team. Or in Spanish, it'd be like transferring to our Spanish speaking team or whatever it is. And you can have up to 25 of each of these different actions. So keep that in mind. You can have a total of 25. And then once you're done with that, you could just then hit another one, and you could just keep giving them all the way down. Hit save when you're done, and you would be good to go. The next thing is triggering a workflow. Now, I don't use triggering a workflow too often because usually I want a specific action to come off of that. So I use a lot more update contact fields, but triggering a workflow is pretty straightforward. You put the workflow's name, make sure whatever workflow you put, that you put the exact name just like it, because even something as different as the characters being uppercase or lowercase could make a difference, because the AI isn't looking at it as how you've named it. It's just looking as a bunch of letters and characters. So if it can't find AIAK2, it's going to be like, oh, even if you spaced it out maybe, or you did AIAK in lowercase, it's not, unless you tell it to search for not case sensitive, it's not going to know. So, and you really can't do that. So just make sure the action name here matches the workflow name, something that's really important. When to trigger it, just like everything before. What is the scenario or the spot that you want to happen? Maybe they want to receive a payment link. That was something we're using workflows a lot, or different types of PDFs or anything that they need sent to them. It's great to do that for workflows, or maybe you want to update a status, like maybe they want to be contacted in a week. Well, you could have a workflow now that when they said that, it would fire and then it would update their actions to be tagged, whoever their user is or the teammate that's tagged to them. Hey, here's a manual action, call this person in a week, or a task that caused this person a week. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with workflows. It's just usually like more situation based, like something happens, versus I like to use, and again, when you say workflows at the bottom, again, they're going to say what it is when it happens. Like if they're sending them a payment link, I'd like to say, hey, my assistant's sending you a link to take care of that. If you could please put in your payment information and sign up, something like that. Just anything to know that it's handing off that action, whatever it is, even if it's sending them a PDF. Hey, I'm about to send you that PDF. Let me know when you got it. That type of stuff. Again, you can do up to 25 of these. But like I was saying, my favorite one to use is the update contact field. Because the cool thing is, you're going to have the name, you're going to have the contact field, you have to make it ahead of time, but you can do almost anything with this. Like one of the things that we always have it do is at the end of the call, and this is, you see right here, you've got like 500 characters. So you can write this as like a mini prompt. So I'll say something like at the end of the call, update the contacts or the user's status or traffic temperature. And then I'll use for examples, I'll be like hot. And then I'll put the definition of hot. So here I just put hot like this, and then I put the definition, and then I put warm, and then I put definition. Now you're going to want to find, whenever you're doing these, you give as many examples and stuff as you can, because that's going to let the AI know what you're exactly talking about and how you want things like aligned and output and things like that. So I'd come in here, and this would be like, I think we call it lead temp. Let me see here, traffic temp. So we come in and it'd be traffic. And I always do that first. I'll find the name of the workflow first, and then man, I can't type. And then I'll come in, so that way I can make sure they're matched up. And then I'd come in and I'd say, like I said, I'd be like, update the status of the user at the end of the call, depending on what their traffic temperature is, and then make recommendations on how to move them along and help them to make a purchase or something like that. Or like their objections. When they have objections, I'll be like, hey, label this as their first. I'd be like, the prompt would be when the user states or the caller states their first objection, update this field, and then what it will just do it. And then like the second one, it would update the second one. So then you've got their first objection, second objection, third objection. You've got what their business name is, what their roadblocks are, all the stuff that you need to know in your sales call. You can have your AI agent easily do that for you, and then be able to book them on a call, which we'll talk about scheduling an appointment next. So I really like this update contact field as a way to really make your AI system dynamic. And we'll do stuff like if you're in real estate, it could be the property address, how many bedrooms it has, what color is the house, does it need repairs, are you looking to sell now? All that different type of stuff, all the qualifiers and disqualifiers, all that stuff can be put in here, and then they can be updated, into the contact, as well as in the workflow. Same thing there. If the contact, you could put in the prompt in the other one If the contact shows that they are excited and want to buy and ready to sign up, send this contract or something, and then you have a workflow firing. Well, I like to use these the majority of times. There's 25 of them. I always max them out all the time. The next thing you're gonna need to know before we wrap this up is this overwrite existing contact field. If you wanted to overwrite the contact field every time, which almost every one of them I use, I want it to. There might be certain instances where you don't, but for this one, I almost always write that. So you put the mini prompt. What is the update the field? Update the call, update the name of the caller. Update the phone of the caller. Update the caller's temperature. What was some other stuff we do? We do like their objections, like I said, all their different stuff for qualifying. We do a bunch of different stuff, like for webinars. We'd ask them, all the different stuff about their business and different things like that, so we can really get it for marketing information as well. So, like I said at the bottom here, you're going to want to add examples. If it's an address you're putting, you want to have address examples of how you want it to be, the AI to output it. So the way that you put in the address is the way that the AI is going to recognize it and it's going to output it the same. Again, you can have up to 25 of those. The next thing we're going to go into is SMS, which is just a text message. Multiple different reasons you might want to send these out. Now, mind you, this is just a text message. It doesn't fire or update anything. You're just sending a text message. Also, keep in mind that you can use custom values and custom fields, and you can do up to 1,600 characters. But keep in mind, for every 160 characters, it's what's called a segment. And one of the things that will cause cost to go up is having multiple segments shoot out at one time. So if I used all 1,600 characters, it'd be 10 segments. I don't know what the cost would be, but it'd be a lot more versus just 10 individual messages that went out. So just keep that in mind. Emojis cost more. They count for more characters. And then the more segments you send out, it can cost more as well. So you'd put in the message right here, what you want them to send. When should the SMS take place? Just like everything before, describe the scenario, event, or like actions that are happening during the call that would make this want to happen. I mean, it's really straightforward. And then again, what to say before it's sent, like always. Again, you put the message right here. You can have up to 25 of these. Super easy to do. You do have the ability to go into templates. So if you have SMS templates that you've saved under your messaging, you can just pull those in right here instead of having to write them a bunch. So that would help out a lot too if you're using a lot of SMSs. Next thing we'll go to is booking appointment. Now, you are only able to pick one calendar at a time. So say you want to do an AI Kickstart one-on-one. Now, the next thing you have here is the amount of dates it's offered. So this is the amount of days out. So it'd be like, oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If I only wanted to offer 2 days, it'd be like Monday, Tuesday. One day would be like Monday. So just keep that in mind. That's the amount of days. Now, I pretty much always do a 3-3-1. I'll explain these other two in just a second, but I almost always keep this one at 3. Same thing for slots per day. This is the number of slots the AI is going to offer to the person. So if you wanted to say like 1, 2, and 3, you'd leave it at 3. So it'd go, oh, we have 1, 2, 3 available. If you turned it down to 2, it'd be like 1 and 2 available. If you said 1, we'd be like 1. And it'd be like, no, that doesn't work. And we're like, oh, 2. No, 2 doesn't work. 3. No. So I always keep it at 3, so it'll give the most amount of options. And this is then the amount of hours between. So the way it's set up now, if I had 3 slots, it'd be like 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock. And then if I went down, it'd be like 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. And now it'd be like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So I always go 3-3-1. Make sure you set this up so we'll know what calendar it's talking about. As far as that goes, you don't really need to program anything into the prompt itself unless you want to. This will work automatically, does a great job with it, schedules it right into it. If you do want to do a cancellation, what you want to do is set up a workflow to fire to cancel the appointment when it reschedules. The AI will reschedule the appointment, but it doesn't actually delete the old one. It will just make a new one. So you can prompt in, the AI can help with rescheduling. So if somebody calls in and wants to reschedule an appointment or cancel an appointment, all you do is make a workflow that anytime anybody wants to reschedule or cancel an appointment, that you're going to cancel their old appointment and then the AI will just take care of rescheduling the new one. So it's just a little trick to be aware of. It'll help you out when it comes to that because natively it can't do it on its own. You sort of have to finagle it a little bit. So once that is done, you're then going to go into your beta actions. Now, these are just think of them right now as advanced update custom fields because that's what they do. The post is going to put in information. You're going to set up a webhook. I'm not going to get super deep into this, but it's not super complicated. You're going to have your action name, when it's going to take place, what they're going to say, all that's the same as always. You're then going to set up a webhook as a trigger, as a workflow trigger. You're going to set up a webhook as a workflow trigger. You're going to put that link right here. Any headers that you wanted to put in there, you would. If you wanted to use authentication, you could put your AI API key. Again, I'm not going to spend time in that. If you guys want to see something on custom actions, I'll do a whole video on it if you want, but let me know down below so I'll do it. But then you've got your just different naming conventions. What type is it? Is it email, a Boolean, which is like true, false? Is it an integer, which is like a number, phone number? And then you're going to test your webhook to make it work. The cool thing about this, it's not so cool right now, but they are going to make it eventually so that it will do put and post and all different types of other actions. And then that's going to allow it to now, during the call, potentially fire and be able to update information during the call itself. Where the problem is now is everything in here happens at the end of the call. So that's the one thing about it is like, it's all the updates. Now you can have the SMS and stuff will happen, but the update contact field, all that stuff happens at the end of the call. So you can't really make it dynamic to where they're like, oh, I want 10 of these, and then updates 10, and then because it's 10, it does something. It's a little bit harder to do that without right now. You can do stuff with prompting and stuff like that to get around it, but right now it's once they get these beta actions and you get all of them done, you're going to be able to work some magic. It's just going to be amazing with it. Again, bottoms just like before. Same thing about the workflows and the emails. Once you're happy with all that and got everything out, you're going to hit next. You're then going to go to your phone number. You're going to see here, wow, this is new. They just recently added this in here. So it is for a basic plan. This is the per use plan per minute. You can get unlimited for the AI, but that is 97 bucks base, I think, for it for the unlimited package. If not, you're going to be looking at this price per minute that you're going to be using it. Then you'll come down, select whatever phone number you want. All my phone numbers are taken. Then you're going to click this if you want to enable this AI agent as backup to the phone number that you're using. So the AI agent will answer the call if the user or 40 number doesn't respond. So I pretty much always leave that on, which is like, hey, if the phone number doesn't ring, they're gonna click here. Next thing is if you wanted the agent to have like working hours, so maybe you wanted to come on at like 5 p.m. on Monday, and then maybe turn off. You couldn't do it in the morning. They don't have AM here, so you could go to 11:55. This is just something to be aware of. It's a weird little glitch, and then you can have it start back up at like midnight here, and then turn off at like 8 a.m. for like when you guys open the doors. But there is like this weird minute or 5 minute space there. So just let your clients know from 11:55 to midnight. If you happen to have this on, it won't be available for those 5 minutes before midnight. It's really weird. I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet, but it's just something to be aware of if you're using the agent hours. Next thing over here is for testing your agents. You put in your own phone number. You are able to have up to 10 minutes a day to test it for free. And then you're going to come right here and anything you called for call history, you'll be able to access there, as well as below it, you'd be able to see different and now AI analysis of the call. Once everything is good, you're going to hit save and your agent's pretty much live. The next thing we'll be looking at is your dashboard and logs. Great information on here. I highly recommend you use this a lot. It's blank right now, but at the bottom, what it will say is the agent's name, contact's name, phone number, time and date. And then you're going to be able to see what information did it gathered, what actions were triggered. You're going to be able to rate the call. You're going to be able to say whether it's good or bad, and then give it information. There's like a little thumbs up, thumbs down. I recommend that you do use that a lot. This helps to train the AI. And when you push the thumbs down, it's going to ask you what should have happened. Let it know, and this is how the AI will get better. So that is it for AI. If you'd like to be able to get in my AI agency Kickstart, please be sure to check down below. You'll be able to learn all about it. We are, I think there's only 5 spots. It is starting the 5th of May. You're going to love it. You do get a free HighLevel account for 90 days. You get a SynthFlow account. You get a CloseBot account. You get a Play.io account to run ads to your AI webinar we're going to teach you, or I'm going to teach you. And you get to learn about how to create, design, and sell AI. So thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. You are amazing, and I love you. Funnel Doc out. Peace.